and as an adjunct instructor, my class is the class that I normally teach, Introduction to Business, is mandatory. And
Mhm.
so not everyone wants to be there. You know what I
Right,
mean? It's one of
right.
those ones that everybody in the business program has to take. So I don't know. I just feel like you probably have so many things that I could learn and implement like in my teaching and in my coaching too, like
Yeah,
for business. So like
I would love
I
to.
wanted to give you all my money so you can teach me all the things.
And you hit on your students, not really wanting to be there. That's a huge thing that, that's the number one thing that we focus on is like
Yeah.
before we do anything, we work on getting the student engaged, right? Student's not going to do anything they don't feel like doing. What's the point in this? I'm not going to go to college. I'm not going to finish high school. Whatever the
Mhm.
reason is, they're not interested. And so the first thing that we do as mentors is we come in and we listen to the student and we hear like what is it that you're trying to do, let's work on getting you there,
Yeah.
and how can we get there. And so making it fun, making it apply to them and what
Yeah.
their goals are is the very first thing.
Okay. That's so cool. Okay. So do you have physical locations? Are you virtual? Um, which areas of the country are you in?
Yeah, so we're in 21 states currently. This year we are predicted to go international. So we thank you, I'm so excited and so very proud of the team. And
Congratulations. It's amazing.
thank you. And so we are all over. If we do not have a tutor in your area, we would be able to get started immediately online. And a lot of the times we do that until we have an in-person tutor whose availability has opened up. And
Yeah.
a lot of the time what happens is the student has already started with the online tutor and they're like, I love my tutor. I don't want to stop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Where do
Yes.
you find your tutors?
Yeah, so we find them in a lot of different ways. A lot of our tutors are current teachers or past
Mhm.
teachers. Some of them have their PhDs in education, masters. We have a lot of college students. And so,
Mhm.
really, we find people, some of the most important things are they need to be passionate, about it because we can't have a tutor get started and then leave their student, right? So, we're looking for
Right.
someone going to understand the student, who's going to care about the student first and foremost. Obviously, they need to know the material, and then we
Yeah.
help train them more on our learn to learn curriculum and then also being trauma informed, just because so
Yeah.
often we're working with students who, and even if they haven't been in the foster youth or another situation, you never know what a student has been through. And so having tutors who have been through that training, I think, is very, very important for them to be empathetic and to be able to relate really well to the students.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what about how many tutors do you guys have?
This is a funny story. um, like a couple months ago, I was talking with a potential business partner, and they asked this question, how many tutors do you have? And I was like 400. And so later on that day, I had a meeting with my team and I was like, oh, hey, by the way, guys, like how many tutors do we have? Like, I don't know. And they're like, we have like 900 tutors, Lonnie. And I was like, oh, and that's such a testament to the team because they are holding it together so well. They have things going so well that I don't know things like that because my job is really, let's start seeing how can we get this out to more students. How can we
Yeah.
get the word out and how can we provide even better services to more students. And so yeah, we do have about 900 tutors across the country.
My gosh, across the country. So then when you go international, so that kind of leads me to another question. Which languages do you cover? Obviously English. I'm guessing some Spanish, but do you have other bilingual,
Yes.
tutors that can help with English as a second language? People
Yes.
just coming into the country?
Yes, so we do all of the typical languages that are asked, but remember we're very, very individualized. And so whatever the student needs, we've had a foster youth before who was blind who needed online tutoring. And that's
Yes.
hard to find, especially because she needed to work on sign language. And it's like, well, no, sorry, not sign language. She was working on, sorry, I like got two
Braille.
stuck
Yeah.
in my head, but the one that I was thinking about, the blind one, she, like we're going to make it work for our students. So
Hmm.
whatever we're finding the student needs, we're going to work as hard as we can to be able to help them with that need. Um, the typical languages that we do work with will be definitely English, Spanish, French, German. We've had a lot of different languages. Yeah, American Sign
So
Language is
cool.
one that we've done a lot too.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say it sounded like you may have had a deaf student or two, and you said
Mhm.
sign language, and it sounded like, yeah, no, oh, amazing, so cool. All right, well, so in the spirit of the series, have you in the 9 years like that? You look really young, so it's it sounds like you probably started this really young. Did you make any mistakes? Was there anything that, if you had a do-over, you would do it over? And,
I
knowing what you
made
know now.
Yes, I made like all the mistakes.
Oh,
Um, I I love that you asked this question because it's going to be so helpful for new entrepreneurs. So number one thing, like the first thing that I thought of when you asked me that question was my prices were too low because I didn't trust
ooh,
myself. I think a lot of people think that when they're starting something out that, oh, they're just starting, so like I'm gonna cut
yeah,
sell myself short, right? And
yeah,
so like maybe that makes sense at the very very beginning. If you really don't have any idea at all what you're doing, that's fine. But definitely don't let it go too long.
you already
um
had results, amazing
right,
results.
the first
So,
student. And
mhm,
so yeah, definitely don't sell yourself short.
that's a
And figure
good
out what
one.
the prices are and what is it worth to you and what is it to other people. Another thing that I would say that like I kick myself in the butt all the time is I didn't have help from advisors. Like business is not new. Even if you're coming up with a totally new idea, the business
Yeah,
processes and models
right.
and framework are not new. And you can find someone who has the finance expertise. You can hire a lawyer or an accountant. You don't need to go and read those 100-page contracts yourself. And so I would
No.
really really suggest people to go out and find those people because it will
Yeah.
make the process so much easier. And
Oh, yeah.
I don't like definitely different. You can Google different places. One I would suggest would probably be Score. You can obviously pick, whichever one you think would be good. The reason I mentioned Score, I did have some good results with them.
Yeah.
Results vary obviously, but it is like past CEOs or past
Oh, I've
executives
heard of
who,
this.
yes, and they do it for
Yes.
free. And so for a new entrepreneur, some resources, get whatever resources you can, but
Yes.
the free ones definitely help. The third thing that I would say is I didn't strategize enough. It is so easy to get overwhelmed when you're new, you don't know where you're going, what you're doing. There are a million things to do. So if you literally sit down, strategize, what is the most important thing? There's a book called I think it's called Eat the Frog. So what
Yeah.
that yeah. So what that book talks about is what is the thing that's going to move your business forward the most. Now do that thing. Don't do the little things that aren't going to do anything just because, oh, I marked off 10 things off my to-do list. So really spend the time to think, where is my time best used? And then do that thing. Don't get stuck in the organizing your to-do list because now you feel better.
You know, I there's I can definitely tell that you've been in business for a long time, right? And so like my job in corporate America is to run the budgeting process for CEOs, CFOs, right? And so Like, it's literally my job to think strategically. Like our biggest project every year, every finance person, every accounting person is the
Mm-hmm.
strategic finance plan. So it's something that like I always think of, but like even myself, like even though I know that and I know better, like as an entrepreneur, like with my dog daycare, sometimes I catch myself, chasing squirrels basically, is how I always think of it, like getting distracted with the small stuff. And there's a lot of big stuff that needs to happen.
So
Now,
easy to get distracted. Yeah.
and even though I have this long, 20 years, almost 20 years of accounting and finance, I still hired a CPA, like
Mm-hmm.
because that is not my
The
business.
best use of your time. Yeah, it's not.
That's not my business. Yeah, and I know
Mhm.
that it's not. So, I for better or worse, I'm the face of the company, right? My manager and I, she went with me. Her name is Sherilyn, and we went to the blocks together. We were on
Ah,
season
okay.
8. So yeah, yeah, yeah. We were yeah. She was my widow buddy. That was when we were in pre-launch though.